Oil tankers carrying millions of barrels are sitting idle, like parked cars with nowhere to go. Major ports in Texas and Louisiana are scrambling to find buyers, and even longtime allies like Germany, France, and South Korea are quietly turning away from U.S. oil. They're now getting their energy elsewhere. To understand how we got here, we need to rewind a bit. It all started when the U.S. government decided to get tough on trade. The goal? Protect American industries by slapping tariffs, extra taxes, on imported goods like steel, aluminum, and even certain types of shipping and energy equipment. The idea made sense on paper. If foreign products cost more, then American companies could compete more easily, grow, and hire more U.S. workers. But reality played out very differently. Some of these tariffs unexpectedly hurt U.S. oil production. Take steel tariffs, for example. They made it more expensive to build pipelines and drilling rigs, core tools for the energy sector. And then other countries hit back. Allies like the European Union, South Korea, and India didn't just accept the tariffs. They responded with their own penalties, many targeting American oil exports. That made U.S. oil more expensive abroad. Naturally, overseas buyers started looking elsewhere. Think of it like this. Imagine you charge your neighbors to use your garden hose. At first it seems smart. You're protecting your water bill. But eventually, your neighbors just dig their own wells. Or worse, start buying water from someone else. You still have all the water, but no one's coming to get it. That's exactly what happened to American oil. And it didn't stop there. Let's look at who stepped in to fill the gap. As U.S. oil got pricier due to those retaliatory tariffs, many of America's closest trade partners turned to new suppliers. And waiting in the wings, ready and eager, were China and Russia. Before all this, countries like Germany, Japan, and South Korea were big buyers of U.S. oil. But once the trade disputes heated up, those exports dropped fast. For example, U.S. oil exports to the European Union fell by double digits in just 1 year. South Korea, once a top customer, started buying more oil from places like the Middle East and Russia. Germany, they became a clear case study. Instead of sticking with American LNG, liquefied natural gas, they signed long-term deals with Russia. They even began building new infrastructure to handle Russian supplies. It wasn't just Europe. India, another major energy buyer, found a clever workaround. They started buying Venezuelan oil at a discount, channeled through China, which handled the logistics and payments. The truth is, global oil demand didn't disappear. It simply moved. And it moved toward countries that didn't come with political strings or extra fees. Think of it like a restaurant suddenly adding a foreigner fee to every dish. Customers won't stop eating, they'll just eat somewhere else. That's what the world did with U.S. oil. While buyers moved on, competitors moved in. None faster than China. While the U.S. was tied up in trade fights and losing customers, China moved quickly to grab the opportunity. For years, China has been laying the groundwork, investing in energy infrastructure like it was playing a long game of chess. Through its Belt and Road Initiative, China built deepwater ports, pipelines, and mega refineries. But the real game changer? The petro-yuan, a system that allows countries to trade oil using Chinese currency instead of U.S. dollars. These investments gave China the perfect tools to absorb the global oil demand the U.S. was pushing away. Take Russian oil, for example. When Europe started pulling back from Russian energy, China stepped in. Russian crude now flows into Chinese refineries, where it's cleaned, processed, and here's the twist, re-exported to other countries that no longer want to deal directly with the U.S. or Russia. Since China isn't facing the same tariffs, they can sell that same oil at lower prices. One shipping executive summed it up like this: "We're paying tariffs to sell oil, while China pays none to resell the same barrels." It's like baking cookies, getting taxed to sell them, and then watching your neighbor buy those same cookies, repackage them, and sell them tax-free at a better price. China didn't just take advantage of the mess, it turned it into a business model. Now let's bring it back home, to the people all of this was supposed to help. When the United States introduced tariffs, the intention was to protect American workers. But in oil towns across Texas, Louisiana, and North Dakota, the feeling isn't protection, it's betrayal. Take Jake, a pipeline welder from Port Arthur, Texas. He used to work 60 hours a week helping expand oil export terminals. Now, he's unemployed. The port where he worked is quieter than it's been in years. Fewer ships, fewer fewer shipments, fewer jobs. Jake's story isn't rare. Across the country, oil towns are seeing drilling projects canceled, rigs shut down, and local economies shrinking. Recent data shows the number of active oil rigs in the United States has dropped significantly since the tariffs went into effect. Pipeline construction has slowed and port traffic has slumped, especially in places that once thrived on crude oil exports. It's one of the biggest ironies of the whole story. The very people these policies were meant to protect, American workers, are the ones suffering the most. Not because the United States ran out of oil, but because the world ran out of reasons to buy it. Think of it like setting up a lemonade stand, then putting up a sign that says only neighbors who pay extra can buy. Soon enough, no one shows up, and you're left with a table full of lemonade and no income. Now here's the big question, can this mess be fixed? History has a funny way of repeating itself. This isn't the first time the United States has tried to protect its industries with tariffs, and unfortunately, the lessons haven't always stuck. Take the 1970s oil embargo, for example. When OPEC cut off oil supplies, gas stations had lines stretching for blocks. The government responded by investing in domestic production and fuel efficiency, but also learned how risky it is to depend too much on political tactics for energy security. Fast forward to the Trump era. Steel and aluminum tariffs aimed to revive American manufacturing jobs. While some mills did reopen, prices for everything from cars to beer cans went up and other industries suffered. Experts say the current oil tariffs face a similar issue. The problem isn't protectionism itself, but how it's done. If the United States had negotiated smarter, maybe phased in tariffs gradually or offered exemptions to allies, retaliation might have been avoided. Instead, a one-size-fits-all approach triggered a global backlash. So is there a way out? Some producers are already pivoting. In states like California and New Mexico, oil companies are shifting investments toward hydrogen and renewable energy. These sources aren't just cleaner, they're also more resistant to geopolitical shocks. After all, nobody is slapping tariffs on sunshine or wind, at least not yet. In short, the United States has options, but none are quick fixes. The deeper question is, what kind of energy future does America really want? For years, the United States chased energy dominance, the idea that by producing more oil and gas than anyone else, America could control global markets and strengthen its power. It worked for a while. The United States became the top oil producer, exported to dozens of countries, and reduced reliance on the Middle East. Energy dominance only works if others want to buy what you're selling. Thanks to tariffs and retaliations from allies, that demand is slipping away. Meanwhile, diplomacy, building trust, partnerships, and long-term deals, is being sidelined. Countries like China, focusing on strategic partnerships and mutual benefits, are slowly winning over customers the U.S. is losing. Here's the real risk. If the U.S. keeps using oil as a weapon in trade wars, it could weaken the petrodollar, the system that prices most global oil sales in U.S. dollars, which gives America huge financial influence. If countries start trading oil in other currencies, like Russian rubles or digital currencies, the U.S. could lose that grip. Imagine running the world's biggest restaurant, but losing all your loyal customers because you keep raising prices and arguing with them. That's where things seem to be heading. The final question is, will America continue to try dominating alone or start rebuilding trust before the market shifts for good? Here's the big irony. The tariffs meant to protect America's oil industry ended up weakening it. Instead of boosting U.S. energy exports, they pushed buyers into the arms of rivals like China and Russia. Workers lost jobs, ports slowed down, and America's energy dominance started to slip. Now the choice is clear, but tough. Should the U.S. drop these tariffs and try to win back customers through open trade? Or double down on protectionism and risk even deeper isolation? Or maybe pivot to new energy sources like renewables and hydrogen that don't carry the same geopolitical baggage? This is a debate that affects everyone, from workers in small towns, to consumers paying at the pump, to the global balance of power. So here's a question for you. Who do you think is really winning this trade war, America or the real winners, China and Russia? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. If you found this interesting, stay tuned for our next video where we'll explore how Bitcoin is becoming the new oil in global trade wars. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more deep dives like this.